Right, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rekakwadash. Yahweh is the name of the Heavenly Father, and Yahweh Shai is the name of the only begotten Son, and Ba'ashem Harakakwadash is in the name of the Holy Spirit, in the ancient Paleo-Hebrew tongue. Giving double honors to my apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who taught me this truth, and sincere shalom to you brothers out there who are risking your lives and your freedom to push this truth, all right? And sincere shalom to the hopeful elect, all right, of men, women, and children who make up the innumerable multitude. Shalom, all right? So this lesson I'm going to get into is entailing, comparison of the Roman Empire, all right, and the American Empire, all right? And how in Revelations, the 13th chapter, speaks on the beast whose deadly wound was healed, all right? And you put two and two together, all right? Go into history, all right? Precepts, that only points to one, one kingdom, and that's speaking of America today, man, all right? And basically, I'm gonna go into this inflation pretty much, because as you can see, all right, Joe Biden, Donald Trump, giving out these stimulus checks, all right, when America's already 28 trillion in debt, 29 trillion, pretty much, all right, and they're just printing this money, man, because they don't have no money to back up to really just pool, from their savings or pretty much anywhere, So what they've done is print it, and there's evidence of that, all right? So without further ado, I'm going to jump right into it. And, Salaki, I forgot to mention, the same thing happened back in during the fall of the Roman Empire, man. They had inflation occur because they started printing, well, not printing. Here in America, they're printing, all right? But back, they had the I forget what the coin was called, but they're going to go into it right here, what the coin was called, all right? But they started pulling back their coins, which were made of gold, all right, and putting out coins that were made of tin and just making them and remaking them and remaking them, all right, just like as America's printing today, all right? So without further ado, let's get into it, and Lord willing, it's edifying.
Their bullion.
That's what it's called, Salakia, the bullion, all right? That was the name of the coin, all right?
He placed an ever-increasing supply of gold in the hands of the government officials. This was increasingly used to pay military bonuses, salaries for bureaucrats, and even payments for certain public works. Increasingly then, a two-tier monetary system emerged in which the government, the soldiers, and the bureaucrats enjoyed the benefits of a gold standard, while the non-governmental portion of the economy continued to struggle with a rapidly inflating fiat currency.
All right, you see that? Fiat currency. And when you go into it, America is under a fiat currency. All right, the U.S. dollar is considered to be both fiat money and a legal tender, except for private and public debts. All right, so America is a fiat currency. All right, for legal tender is basically any currency that a government declares to be legal. Many governments issue a fiat currency, meaning it's not backed by nothing. It's just literally a piece of paper that they print. All right, so let's get back over. And you heard how he mentioned, all right, the separation between the Roman Empire had the separation between, their government and the Salakia and the army, all right? Pretty much what you have today, because look, they had to pay their Roman soldiers a good money, because why? The wars were fought differently, man. All right. Nowadays, missiles are shot off. You need people to run those missiles, but they basically put the money. The Americans put the money into the missile systems, the missile defense systems, and guns and ammo, right? But back in the day, they needed to pay these actual soldiers because these wars were fought face to face, physical wars, all right? So basically, that's what you have here in America today, because you got the 1% and the 5% at the top. All right, they got all the money, man. All right, those behind the scenes, and then I think Obama's worth some millions of dollars, and I can't put an exact number on it, but I know that these top officials have millions of dollars, man. And where does their money go, man? To their wars, to the war defense, to the weaponry, and things of that nature. So the same deal going on today with that. So we're gonna continue. Salak.
Thus, the state had found a way to protect itself and its servants from the unwholesome effects of its own earlier inflationary cycle. Meanwhile, the masses suffered from massive injection of fiat money, which they had to accept in payment for government requisitions of such gold or silver or other commodities which the government demanded. Now, we may wish to find some lessons in this tale of monetary policies of the late Roman Empire. The first lesson, I think, must be that if war is the health of the state, as Randolph Bourne said, it is poison to a stable and sound money. The Roman monetary crisis, therefore, was closely connected with the Roman military problem. Another lesson is that the problems become solvable when a ruler decides that something can be done and must be done. Diocletian and Constantine clearly were willing to act to protect their own ruling class interests.
All right, so you hear what he said, when a ruler wants something to be done. These days, all right, Americans, the government, they don't care about you Americans, man, because everything's coming into an artificial intelligence, a technocracy. All right, everything's becoming ran of technology by computer systems. They got these robots who are filling in for the jobs. So if you don't want to bow down to this system and ultimately take that chip, which is the mark of the beast from Revelations 13 and 16, all right, and you don't fall in order to be controlled by them, because ultimately that's what they're doing with nanobot technology and this chip. You're going to be under complete subjection, man. Somebody's going to be controlling you behind the scenes. All right, they could turn you off in a moment's notice if you don't want to listen, or you're trying to buck up against the system. Boom, they'll turn your chip off, man. It might turn your brain off at that point. All right, so that was that on that. And I got a quick so you could hear in the video, man, the Romans, all right, they started printing. I had a Salakia Roman 10 Roman inflation 10. All right, so just real quick, when Rome had inflation, it was mainly because the emperor started to make coins out of tin instead of silver. They did this because it was cheaper to make and they could make more. Then prices would raise and money would flow in. Eventually, they got too much money and had inflation. All right, and that goes back to the top, the 1% being greedy, man. They're holding all the silver and holding all the gold, while the regular population and your everyday Roman citizen, your everyday American today, is just walking around with some that ain't worth nothing, man. Buying and purchasing, all right, that they keep printing and printing and printing. All right. So I got this other article real quick. This is from the Outsider Club. Printed to death. Dollar due to crash in 2021. Congress is set to give final approval of Biden's $1.9 trillion coronavirus stimulus package today, which amounts to one of the largest bailouts in American history. Where are they going to get this $1.9 trillion to pay for it? While the government certainly doesn't have any savings it can dip into. In fact, it only has an insurmountable pile of debt, which now totals over 28 trillion. All right, so I'm going to jump down. So here's where they're at. The government needs 1.9 trillion to pay for this thing, but they don't have any savings. They can't raise the money through taxes, and they are going to reallocate any of the money they're spending now to pay for it. So where are they going to get the money for this bailout? Well, there's only one option: print it. They get the money government needs to pay for Biden's stimulus. America must continue its course of quantitative easing, whereby federal government creates new debt bonds, which it exchanges with the Federal Reserve for freshly created money. I think it's important to point out here that this is a partisan matter. Biden's stimulus package will have to be funded by printing new money. But that's exactly how Trump's stimulus packages were paid for as well, plural, because he gave out two or three separate stimulus packages, two of them. Yeah, two separate stimulus packages were paid for as well. So they printed that as well, man. All right. Jumping down, to pay for COVID bailouts to date, the Federal Reserve has added 25% to the total supply of U.S. dollars. Wow. Please let me repeat that. In the past 12 months alone, the Federal Reserve has added 25% to the total money supply, and that doesn't include Biden's new stimulus package. So prices are about to jump, man. Your loaf of bread is about to be $30. Shit, probably even more, man. You see what happened in these surrounding countries, Venezuela, Jamaica, all right? People couldn't afford it, man, because they had money, but they couldn't afford to buy any of the items, man, because everything was so overly priced because everybody had the money, man. Hey, and I'll tell you what, this ties in because I work at a market at Walmart, all right, and they just bumped everybody up, man, like $6. So this is all tying in together, man. They're giving out all this free money, giving everybody raises at Walmart. They're gonna crash this dollar, man. It's gonna go to a digital currency, man. All right. So as you can see, man, the U.S. dollar is pretty much out the window, man. I'm gonna get this Habakkuk. I'm gonna start with Habakkuk 2 and verse 6. Shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his? How long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. Yeah, you see, woe to him, destruction. Woe means destruction to him that increaseth that which is not his. And America's known for that. In the name of democracy, going around starting wars for everybody's what's the word I'm looking for? Utilities? Nah, not utilities. The word is slipping my tongue, but what they go around causing these wars for is, for their gold, for their for just something that the US feels that they need, oil, and things of that nature, man. The Americans, all right, the U.S. government is the biggest thug of the world, man, going around by the means of war, all right, and just stealing everybody's shit, man, killing everybody, man, dropping bombs on people, instilling fear in people, just like the Roman Empire back in the day, man, who had that the legs of iron because of its strong military, man. And that's what you have repeating itself today, man, just in a different era and a different way of fighting these wars. America still got the top military that you could pay for, man. But except that, Russia's coming up, China's coming up, and they're not scared of America no more, man. All right. And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. So you get that word clay, and it means, and the word in Hebrew is ibatiat, and clay means heavy debt, man. All right, so America has ladeth himself with thick clay, that heavy debt, which is 29 trillion, man, and they're not getting out of that hole. There's no coming back from that, man. All right, so let's see, what am I gonna get? I'm gonna get Revelations, the 13th chapter, where it actually speaks on the Roman Empire, whose deadly wound was healed, man. All right, and that's talking about America today, because you have to understand, you have to know who this beast is, man, because he's gonna come down with legislation, which is life or death with the Heavenly Father, man. There's a major test coming, all right, and this beast is gonna push that mark upon the whole world, man. All right, and it's up to you to not bow down to it, because ultimately he doesn't know who's a Jake and who's not. All right, and that'll ultimately mess with his deception, man. All right, so those who take the chip are going to be destroyed, which is the mark of the beast from the Revelations 13 and 16. And those who don't take the chip are either going to be allotted to be saved, all right, or get their head chopped off, man, pursuing the Revelations, the 20th chapter. All right, so this is Revelation 13 and verse 11. And I beheld another beast coming out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. All right, and those 2 horns is going into what? It's the Democrat and Republican system. All right, and that goes back to ancient Rome. All right, because you have the plebeians, patricians. All right, these 2 different systems. All right, that are pushed. All right, that spake as a lamb. All right, because a lamb is known as a meek and a humble animal. All right, and when it says that they came as a lamb, it basically means in the name of democracy, as if we have the best for you. All right, so each party, the Republican and the Democrat, every 4 years they have a new presidential election, and they both speak, have these speeches and debates on who's going to be better for the American people. When in turn, all right, it says that he spake as a dragon, man. All right, hey, he doesn't have the best for you, man. You got to know who your enemy is, and that's the so-called white man who runs both these parties, man. All right, because he has this whole facade on, like he has the best for you people. All right, and that's that trait of a lamb, man. All right, verse 12. And he exercises all the power of the first beast before him, and causes the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. All right, the first beast before him, man, which was talking about Rome. All right, and the deadly wound was healed was talking about what, man? Back in I believe it was like 1959, you had the Treaty of Rome. All right, and that speaks on how NATO and the EU, all right, put America in the power seat pretty much, man, because that's when America started to flourish, man, and really push its power. All right, so in comparison to that first beast, all right, that's speaking of the Roman Empire, the first beast before him, and then the deadly wound who was healed was speaking of America. And how and the reason it says that is because America is basically Rome all over again, man. From everything you see out here, from the way that the buildings are shaped, all right, the way the buildings looked, the leaders are Edomites. The Roman Empire was a kingdom of Edomites. All right, and America today is ran by Edomites. All right, from the Colosseums that you see, those are the same thing as they had the Colosseums in the Roman Empire, and then they have these Colosseums here in America where the sporting events are held, the football games, the baseball games. All right, shopping malls come from the Roman Empire. Gymnasiums come from the Greeks. All right, which you had the Greco-Roman Empire. All right, the Senate. Hey, there's chemicals in the water. All right, because back in the Roman Empire, they were putting lead in the water, and today, you got fluoride in the water. All right, and then the major part, the main point is these Roman gods. All right, because America upholds all these Roman gods, man. Right, and it goes right over everybody's head, man. Because you had what, Janus, all right, and that's that goes back to January, and then Janus was the god of new beginnings. All right, so you see, when you celebrate the new year, the so-called new year, which it's really not. All right, the new year is really in March, when everything starts growing and flourishing and turning green again. All right, Janus is the god of new beginnings. All right, so when you give yourself these New Year's resolutions and things of that nature, all right, a new year, new me, right, you're basically giving reference unto Janus. All right, and then you got Saturnalia, that's the celebration of Christmas. Ishtar, that's the celebration of Easter. All right, Cupid was a Roman god, and that's why and Cupid was the god of love, and you celebrate Valentine's Day. Okay, all right, so basically I'm gonna continue. Go to verse 13. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on earth in the sight of men. All right, and that's talking about them missiles, man. All right, because John the Revelator was seeing these missiles coming down from the sky, man. When what? We were bombing Hiroshima and Tokyo and Afghanistan and things of that nature. And you even got the dew of heaven, the direct energy weapons that start a lot of these wildfires. A lot of people believe that the direct energy weapon, brought down the World Trade Centers. All right, but continuing. And he deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast which had the wound by a sword and did live. All right, and that image isn't talking about Caesar Borgia, man. All right, the image of the beast is basically what you see here in America today, man. This American system, the philosophies, the buildings, the gods, all right, everything around us. You got the Roman numerals, sodomite agenda. It's pseudoscience that it pushes upon you, right? And basically, everything that the Roman Empire was upholding back in its time of rule, man. And that's why the scripture says, whose deadly wound was healed, man. The first beast before him, the Roman Empire, whose deadly wound was healed. That's the new beast, man. All right, which is America. Verse 15, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. All right, as we mentioned before, man, the gods, the lifestyle, and the things and things of that nature, man. All right, and you go down, verse 16, this is what's going to come upon the whole world. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in the right hand or in their foreheads. And that mark is the RFID microchip, which is coming down the pipe, man. All you got to do is do a little bit of research, because that mark goes into charagma, which is that scratch, that etching. Charax is the deeper, louder root of that, which is the instrument that drives in the RFID chip, and the deeper, louder root of that is grapho, man, and that's the record that's going to be on that RFID chip. Your banknotes, where you've gone, how many steps you've taken, where you're going, your schedule, maybe, everything, man. All right, so basically, man, that's a little quick video going in on how this basically, America is Rome all over again, and that's scriptural. All right, so Lord willing, that was edifying, and I'm going to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash, giving double honors to my apostles and elders, great millstone, for teaching me this truth once again. And sincere shalom to you brothers out there for laboring in this truth, pushing this truth for Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. And with that, I'm going to say shalom.